Hey everybody, Chris Webster, and welcome to the Team Black Jobs video. Hope you get much out of this, as I think you will. If not, and you still have more questions, Chris Webster at digtech-llc.com is my email address, and feel free to go over there and check it out. Also, we have a new Patreon account, which is hopefully where you're seeing this. If you didn't, please let me know, but check it out, patreon.com/Team Black. This is free over there, but we have other levels with other great videos, so let's get on to it. All right, so as I said, welcome to the Jobs webinar. Let's go over what we're going to talk about. We'll discuss cover letters, CVs and resumes, references, finding a job, networking, and then usually I'll take your questions at the end of this, but since I didn't get enough engagement off the Jobs webinar, then please send in your questions to chriswebster at digtech-llc.com. So a little bit about me first. I have a Master of Science and I'm an RPA, but we'll talk about that. I was in the U.S. Navy from 1993 to 1997 as an aviation electronics technician. I got my BA in anthropology from the University of North Dakota in 2005. I did my field school in Olduvai Gorge in 2005. Yes, that Olduvai Gorge. It's pretty great being in Tanzania. I was a field technician from 2005 to about 2009, mostly on the East Coast. Then I got my MS in archaeological resource management from the University of Georgia at Athens in 2010. I was a field tech, crew chief, project manager, all the things from 2010 to 2012, when I then started my own company, DigTech LLC, in 2012. In 2014, I started the Archaeology Podcast Network, which you may be familiar with. And then in 2015, I started PCS, which formed into Team Black for various reasons, and that was started in 2015. And then I've been with WildNote since 2018. WildNote is a digital data collection application. Chris at wildnoteapp.com if you want more info. Some other classes that we have just to help up your skills: illustrating artifacts and features on a tablet. If you want to, the Getting Out of Archaeology one is really for people who are transitioning, but I think it's really good for people who have really seasonal work. Like if you're in an area and you don't really want to move, but you can only work 6 to 8 months out of the year, then use this to figure out how you can write your resume and your CV and discuss your skills as an archaeologist to get another job over the winter or between fieldwork jobs. Got one on drones, really kind of an introductory lesson into drones, using tablets, of course, how to factor that into your workflow. And then your digital workflow is kind of an extension of that. Field Tech Basics teaches you all the things you need to know about being a field tech and how to live, work, and thrive as a field tech. And then an entire webinar on maps, everything from compass and paste maps to reading maps to compasses to all kinds of different things. So we go over lots of stuff on that. Okay, so let's get into this. We're first going to talk about the cover letter, then we'll get into your resume or CV, and then finally your references. So the cover letter does a few things. It's your first introduction into the company, lets them know who you are, lets them know where you're coming from. We'll go over the specific parts here in a second, but it's the first time most people are probably going to see you or hear from you. The fact that you can even put one together shows professionalism, that you can follow directions, shows training and technical skill, and the fact that you understand how to use a word processing program, which shockingly few people know how to do, or I should say shockingly high number of people don't know how to do. Shows that you can follow instructions, as I already said. Helps to formalize assumptions, because in that cover letter, you'll restate some things from the job posting, and you'll tell them what your situation is and go from there. And also, it sets your contact information. That should be on your CV, some of it anyway, but it really just puts in one nice little spot, where can they get a hold of you. So let's go over those parts right now. So the top part is just the heading. Usually format this the same way every time. Your address up on the right, formatted to the left, you'll notice, but it's on the upper right side there. And then left formatting for the rest of it. Date, I usually put the department that I'm sending this to, if applicable. Otherwise, just the company, and then the city and state. You don't need to put their full address. You may want to put their full address if they got more than one office in that city, but they probably don't. So I just default to city and state. Next, you'll have the introduction part. To whom it may concern is nice and easy. It's gender neutral. It doesn't make any assumptions. It's a nice way to start. I also always include a subject line just to let them know where the job is coming from, because they may have put multiple job postings out, or they may have put multiple job postings out or one job posting out in different areas. So this particular example is Shovelbum's job posting. And then the first paragraph details exactly where I saw that and what I'm applying for. Because again, companies may be putting job posts out for multiple positions or multiple companies or multiple offices. So you want to let them know what exactly you're talking about. So I saw your posting for summer fieldwork on shovelbumps.org. So it's the specific project. This was kind of a cattle call request example. And it was posted on shovelbumps.org on the date that it was posted. The posting was for work out of your Reno, Nevada office. Next is the body, and this just tells them a little bit about yourself and some more information. You can really put anything you want here, just a little bit more detailed information about what you're doing, and I have some other info here. So this one says, I'm currently working in the Eastern Mojave of California on a project that is nearing completion, so they know I'll be available soon. Weather and terrain conditions are similar to those of much of Nevada. So I was looking for a project in Nevada, and I'm already working on a project in Nevada. So this tells them I'm used to working in the same conditions that you're asking me to work in. Your pay scale was listed as $25 to $35 per hour. I'm currently working a project around the middle of that pay range, but I'm looking for a company that's willing to train me to higher positions and pay scales. So getting pay out of the way right away is a smart thing. People like to avoid it. They don't like to have the conversation, but hopefully they list a pay scale too. If they don't, you'll have a different conversation with them. But so this one says, hey, I'm right in the middle somewhere. I'm not going to tell them exactly what I'm getting paid, but I'm willing to learn. Don't exactly have to pay me more now, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to train, and I want to move up. That shows them all those things. I'm well versed in all phases of contract archaeology, and I'm working through training courses with Team Black. I had to put that in there. So that just lets them know that I'm still thinking, still learning, and still improving myself. So then you have contact information. And I've attached my CV and references. In addition, here is my LinkedIn profile, and I've got that there. I always believe in putting a LinkedIn profile. And again, it shows technical proficiency, professionalism, and that you can actually put something like that together. I can be reached at. That's my actual phone number and my email address. So that just sets everything right there. These are the places where you can reach me. Now, one other thing you can put in there is if you are actually working and you don't want to be contacted or can't be contacted during business hours, then state that as well. They might have to contact you outside business hours. You don't want them calling all day and you not answering and then them getting irritated. Just say, hey, I can't be reached between 7 and 3 Monday through Friday. That's just how it is. Finally, you just want the closing, and I just say thank you. Nice and simple. I have my name. I usually have 3 or 4 carriage returns there. I don't on this example because there wasn't enough space. But then you sign it above your name, and then I say the number of enclosures, and that means my CV and my references. It doesn't include the cover letter. All right, so that's basically what your cover letter is going to look like. And you should have a different cover letter for each company that you're applying for, but because it's going to have different details in it. So now let's talk about your resume and your CV or curriculum vitae. We will go over the resume first. So a resume in the United States is typically a 1-page document. 1 page, maybe 2, but 1 page typically. And it's got a summary of your experience on it. A lot of companies don't even ask for a resume, but if they do, this is typically what we're going to go over here. So in the upper right-hand corner, I've got contact information, address, email, phone number. I've got a summary, just a quick summary statement about myself. Now, the resume is like the cover letter, tailored towards the specific job that you're looking for. So select accomplishments should include things that relate to the job that I'm looking for. Same thing with professional experience. If I'm looking for a job on historical archaeology or mining sites, then I'm going to include experience, if I have it, related to those types of sites. Education is required, so put that on there. Technical skills, again, stuff that's required. Really try to include things that are actually specifically listed in the job posting. As a fun thing here, I have some companies I've worked for on the left with some really quick synopsis of what I did, and then more contact info at the bottom. I included a quote. You can get that from LinkedIn if you ask for references on LinkedIn or somewhere else. So that's just a quick way to really present your entire amount of information in just one quick thing. Again, these are tailored for the specific job that you're looking for. Now we'll talk about the CV. The CV is a multi-page document. Curriculum vitae is Latin for story of life. And it literally is all the things that relate to getting all this done, right? Everything you've done in your life, this is where you put that. So I just have my name at the top with my address. And no, I don't live at the White House with my address and my email address and phone number. And so, again, I treat the front page of the CV almost like a resume because quite frankly, nobody's going to read through an 8-page CV. They're just not. They're not even going to read through a 3 or 4-page CV. They're going to skim it. And if they're going to skim it, give them everything they need on the front page. So what's required for doing this job is a degree. So I have my 2 degrees up here. I have my master's degree and what I covered in that. And then I have my bachelor's degree and studies that I have in that. Now I have other details down in the little block here because in Nevada, this is all specific to working here. And this is all in color, by the way, on my actual CV. It doesn't look like this. That's just for this presentation. So I have that I'm permittable for the BLM because that's important here in Nevada, and where I'm permittable for my MSHA certification, which is current now, but I did this a long time ago. Different memberships that I have that might be important to someone. And then for that BLM permit, it's really important to have work experience. So they need to know that I have the required experience to be able to get permitted. And I show that in a nice little graph right here. I once knew somebody that had a map of the United States in the bottom half of their CV and all the states filled in where they've worked, which is pretty neat. So just have fun with it, be creative, and try to treat the front page almost like a resume. Moving on from there, I always start with work experience with the most recent thing on there first. And keep in mind, if you've worked for a company multiple times, then you'll put them on there multiple times. I put them in order that I worked in them. So you'll see Couts Environmental on there, I think, twice, because I worked for them twice. So also, you'll notice down at the very bottom, I have Chris Webster -2, because sometimes people will actually print these out and the pages could become separated from each other. So you want them to know whose is this and what page number it is so they can put it back together. So you can see going down the line here, there's just work, work, work. There's Couts again. If you have a job that breaks over the fold of the page there, so if it goes from one to the next, like that bottom one there. So if you look at this one, SNME breaks over to the next one, that's enough lines. If it's just like one line, I might try to reword that so it doesn't break over the page. Or if it's a shorter job posting, I might just hit put in a page break and have it break all the way to the next one. But you don't want a lot of empty space at the end either. So you got to kind of play that by ear. So we got all this job experience here. And then I included the next thing is the last thing is the field school. That's in my work experience. And you might want your field school on the front page if you're brand new in this field, because you don't have a lot of work experience. So they need to know that you went to a field school. My 5 pages of work experience indicate that I must have had a field school. I couldn't have had all those other jobs. So while it's not incredibly important to be on the front, it still is important to have in there because it is a requirement in a lot of places. Then I include a nice little line there just to let them know that that section is done. And we move on to the next section. And I maintain the headings throughout to be pertinent. Now, I have a lot of military education experience. To me, that's important, so I put that in there. Again, a line showing that it's over. Computers and technology, got a bunch of stuff in there. Obviously, I would update that as the years go on, and anything I'm currently working on that I think is pertinent to my experience and my attitude and anything else. And that's it. All right, so references. You usually want at least 3. They'll usually tell you how many they want, but if they don't, try to have at least 3 on there, but don't go more than like 5. That just gets to be too much. Try to not have them just be field techs if you're a field tech, or people at whatever level you're at. If you're a crew chief, maybe not just crew chiefs. If you're a project manager, maybe not just project managers. You want people who led you in some way or another so they can assess your abilities in that position. And also constantly revise your references. You want, after each job or every year, ask the people that you have on your references, are you still okay with me having you as a reference? Somebody might not have worked for you for a long time and might not be able to. Also, if you're working for a bigger company, a lot of times they're not able to give good references. They're only allowed to give the time that you worked there and whether or not you were let go or something like that. So if they're not going to actually be able to answer questions from another job, then don't use them as a reference. And of course, always ask. Finally, on this section, file names. Nothing irritates me more than getting a resume from somebody that's just titled cv.pdf, or even worse, cv.docx. Never send a Word document. Never send a Google Doc. Never send any sort of doc. Always send a PDF. PDFs will preserve your formatting. They're more secure. Somebody can't just change your information. Well, not that they would, but you open a Word document on 10 different computers and you're going to see 10 different styles because that's just how Word works. So always send a PDF, and I always put my name and the type of document .pdf. So Chris Webster cover letter, Chris Webster CV, Chris Webster references, Chris Webster BLM permit if I'm sending that over. Okay, so you got all that done. Now let's go look for a job. There's lots of ways to find work, and we're going to go over just a few right now. So some of the most common job search sites out there, Shovelbums, shovelbums.org. You can find it in a number of different ways. This is one of the addresses, but just type that in and you'll find most of the most current jobs out there. Archaeology Fieldwork is another great place. They actually curate a lot of federal jobs in there too. So it's a good one-stop shop to see a bunch of different things, but not everybody posts in both resources. So you got to check them both. And then finally, if you do want straight government jobs, again, you can find some of those on Archaeology Fieldwork, but they're going to lead you to USA Jobs where you have to fill out the application. Now, if you're interested in Park Service, BLM, jobs like that, I would suggest going over and filling out your USA Jobs profile now because it could take several hours to get all your CV information in there. There might be some tests to take, other things, but get that filled out now. That way, when those jobs come around, you can be hot on them and apply right away. Then there's, of course, others like monster.com and other places, but they don't always have archaeology jobs. You can also check company websites for job stuff. Social media, becoming a great place to look for jobs. Archaeo Field Techs and North American Archaeological Tech Forum, people are posting in those groups. You have to be let into those groups, so follow the rules. Get into the group, and then I think I just saw a job post in there the other day. It's March of 2019 as I'm recording this. LinkedIn, becoming better. Make sure your profile is good because that makes it more searchable. There is a group called Cultural Resource Management that's not very active, but it can become active if we get people in there that want to be active. So take a look. Just having a LinkedIn profile says something about your professionalism and technical proficiency. And as I already mentioned, company websites, big firms, they have job postings right on there. They don't bother posting anywhere else because they're too big. So they'll always get people. So if you're looking for some of the more major environmental firms, which are becoming more and more our employers, then just check their job listings page and see what they have. You can always contact direct. There are some benefits to that. It shows initiative. Put your name in front of them right away, allows you to talk about future work, just have a conversation with them, which can be good. But then the cost is sometimes they say don't contact us directly, so you're not following directions. You also don't want to be annoying. If they didn't put out a job posting, but you're calling for work, you could be shooting yourself in the foot because you're just annoying somebody by taking up their time and they don't have any work. Know your audience as well. The age of the PI or HR person you're talking to, try to assess that over the phone and don't bring up things that they may not be aware of, like different social media stuff or things like that. Just understand who you're talking to and try to talk to them on a level playing field. And finally, networking. So some great places to start to find work are conferences. As I'm recording this, the Society for American Archaeology Conference is coming up. And I was just talking to somebody about possibly not going. And I'm like, listen, you got to look at the value of going. If you've got plenty of work, and you have the money, then maybe go and just learn some new things about archaeology. But you can also go there just to network. So hanging out at the hotel bar, you don't have to drink. You can drink water. Going to some of the parties, just being there in the hallways and talking to people. You can't sit there with your head down and your laptop open. You got to actually head up and introduce yourself and say hi. But it's a great way to network and just get your face in front of people. And they always say in sales, it takes 6 to 8 touches to actually make a sale. And a conference is just a touch, and you're actually making a sale. You're trying to make a sale. You're trying to sell yourself to them. And when they hire you, that sale is complete. So sometimes you have to get your face in front of people or be on social media in a good way or be on LinkedIn and submit jobs before they start saying, hey, I keep seeing this person all around. I think I'm going to hire them now. Social events like I just went to a Nevada amateur archaeology seminar with a guest speaker. Good place to meet people, good place to talk to people. Again, it adds to those touches for making that sale. Social media is your personal brand. Be careful who you let in for your friends on Facebook. Twitter is just all out there, as we've seen from our president. But you want to make sure that you're putting a good face out there. You're putting a professional spin on what you're doing. And if you're going to be crazy on things like Facebook, just don't allow people in that might hire you. Now, this is a small world, and you might have friends in there that become hireable people, and they're just going to know you. So, be careful about that. Of course, your personal network, as you grow in this field and you work more, you'll know a lot more people. So, you'll be able to keep tabs on different jobs. I mean, if they're good friends, just ask them, hey, are you working for anybody that needs anybody? I just got a friend of mine on a job that way. But don't be annoying. I get notes in Facebook from people I haven't talked to in years, and they just say, hey, are you hiring? No, hi, how you doing? No, nothing. Just, are you hiring? That's annoying. And then be careful burning bridges. Some bridges just need to be burned and you don't want to go back over those, but be careful because you never know when it's going to come back around. All right, so that's it. Again, if you have questions, contact me, Chris at digtech-llc.com. And you can always find me over there at DigTech. You can find me at the Archaeology Podcast Network. You can find me at Team Black. So message me in all those places. Again, patreon.com/Team Black is where all our videos are. Very reasonable. For $3 a month, you can watch all our Getting Started videos. For $7 a month, you can watch our field technician level videos or crew chief level videos, actually. I think 5 for field technician. Anyway, it's super affordable and lots of good webinars coming up, lots of good videos coming up. So check all that out. Thank you.